If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Welcome to this episode, the 9th episode, to be exact, of the Spidey cast. I want to talk about Majora's Mask. It's an amazing game. It's very dark, like every YouTuber says. It is extremely dark. It's pretty oppressive, but there's some pretty hopeful themes in this game, and it's well written. I think it's well written. I think the game, for me, is one of my favorite Zelda games of all time. It ties with Ocarina of Time as number one. I love both of them. They impacted my life a lot as a kid. I'm very nostalgic for this game. I'll always remember it fondly. So the story starts off with our boy, Link, the hero of time, most iconic Link, in my opinion, of all time. It's kind of like a pun a little bit because, of all time, he's the hero of time. He's the greatest Link of all time. But enough of that cheesy stuff. He just defeated Ganondorf. He saved Hyrule. Navi, one of his closest friends, the fairy companion from Ocarina of Time, that people criticize to no end, who, in recent years, I kind of appreciate Navi. I think Navi's charming and kind of fun. Yes, she reminds you of things a little too much, but I like her. He's looking for Navi, basically, and he decides to go to the very place that he first met her, Kokiri Forest, in the Lost Woods. So he's riding on Epona, his trusty steed, through the forest, and he's looking around, and then a mysterious figure shows up and knocks him off his horse. After these fairies, these mysterious fairies knock over Epona, well, they smack her, making her lose control and Link falling off the horse. And then a mysterious figure with the Majora's Mask on him, creepy looking mask, I'll say, takes Link's ocarina and then leaps on the horse. Link gets up, holds onto the horse, and he's like getting dragged through the dirt as he's trying to stay on Epona, like stay attached to her. But unfortunately, he flies off, and they leave. So Link follows through the woods, doing some sick acrobatic flips. Like, you can tell Link has learned a lot since Ocarina of Time. He's obviously a little bit older, a little bit more skilled. Obviously, the adult Link stuff carried over into his child Link experience from Ocarina of Time, like his skills and such. But he goes to a tree. He enters the tree because there's like an opening in this giant tree. And he starts to hallucinate these weird things as he falls through the dark tree. There's faces of Deku's, Goron's, and Zora's, which will be significant later. Which I know some of you are rolling your eyes and being like, get to the point. But I gotta explain it for the newcomers, okay? Plus, I like explaining intros, hilariously enough. But Skull Kid curses Link. That's who it is, Skull Kid. The mysterious figure curses Link and turns him into a Deku scrub. Link's horrified and shocked. We see a lot of emotion from Link in that moment, which it's not rare. I'd say classic Link emotes quite a bit for the most part, but he's not like the most expressive character of all time, obviously. That'd be a character with a voice, but I like him and his personality. So Skull Kid leaves with Tail. Tattle gets left behind because a door from the tree separates them, basically. And Link has to journey with Tattle to... So Tattle basically says, hey, can I tag along with you? Even though she was being kind of a piece of crap to him. And one thing I'll say is Tattle is one of the aspects of the game where I'm like, okay, I see what you're going for. Like, here's the problem I have with Tattle. Tattle, like, Midna, if you look at Twilight Princess, she's sassy, she's ornery, but she grows kind of a heart. She kind of appreciates what Link did. She appreciates what Link did for her and helping her, and she loosens up and starts to really care about him. Tattle, you don't really get the impression that she really cares that much about Link. She's kind of begrudgingly helping him. It's very I had to look for a second. Might be the cat. Oh yeah, it is. But Tattle is not a terrible character by any means. I just feel like there was a little bit more time in the oven needed for her. She's a bit too mean-spirited. Like, I get in the beginning, obviously she has to be because she was helping Skull Kid, but I feel like there should have been a bit more development with her character in general. Like, when it comes to her bond with Link. It doesn't feel as strong as Navi or Midna or Eslo or any other companion characters. She's not bad, though. Some of her dialogue can be funny, but I don't think that Tattle is perfect. She can be obnoxious, and the problem is I think it's more so the case of them not having enough time to develop her, more so than bad writing, though. I'll say that much. My previous opinion in the past recording, I was a bit more ranty about it, but now that I think about it, these guys only had a year to develop a character, along with a ton of side characters, so I do want to give them a little bit of slack. Basically, Link and Tattle go through the caves, and then make their way out to the other side, and they essentially find, they go and end up in a clock tower, and there's like these trippy visuals throughout the entryway. The amazing clock tower music plays, most calming song in the entire game. Honestly, the clock tower is the only place you feel safe in this game, but I'll tell you why in about a couple seconds or a couple minutes. So they meet the Happy Mask Man. He was in Ocarina of Time. He was kind of I'm looking at my cat. But the Happy Mask Man from Ocarina of Time shows up. And he's a very charming character. He explains to Link, hey, my mask was stolen. You know, it seems like you've met with a terrible fate. It's an iconic line that everybody uses. To this day, they quote it. But it's very much a... So he's like, hey, man, I know what you've been through, but I can cure you of the curse, because he somehow knows that Link is cursed. And he's like, if you can get Majora's Mask back and the Ocarina back... if you can get Majora's Mask back and the Ocarina back, then I'm going to help you out. You know, I'll help you out. I'll get rid of your curse. You know, you won't be a Deku scrub anymore. But the catch is you got 3 days or I leave. Termina, specifically. Because Termina is where Link is now. He's in an alternate parallel world. So he's like, I'm going to leave this place if you don't get this stuff back in 3 days. And the twist is, in 3 days, the moon is going to fall and kill everybody, including Link. And as a kid, I had no clue that that was legitimate. I thought it was just going to be like a bluff or something. I thought, oh, there's no way they're going to show this. Oh, they show it. If you fail, they remind you the moon falls and a wall of fire hits Link and he dies. So basically, Link goes and plays hide and seek with the Bomber Kids at the behest of the Great Fairy, the most disturbing, weird Zelda character of all time. And he finds this passcode to get to the bombers, because supposedly they're the only people who can help Link. The bombers are a gang of kids who help people throughout Termina. They're charming, but it is annoying that the fate of the world hedges on these kids, and they frickin' decide to hide from Link, play hide and seek, even though he's gonna save the world. Like, really, kids? Get your priorities straight. This is Super Mario Sunshine Pianta levels of priorities not straight. But that's how games are. You know, they're not supposed to be easy. But essentially, he gets the code. He goes in. He meets this observatory guy, and the music is incredible here. He goes to a place called the Astral the Astral Observatory, and he looks. The old man's pretty nice. He's the nicest person in Termina, because people hate Deku Scrubs for some reason. Deku Scrubs can't do anything but go to a creepy underground playground while everybody else is having fun above them. So there's a bit of a hatred towards the Scrubs for some reason. But Link essentially gets his ocarina back after. Well, okay, we're skipping ahead a little bit. So Link looks through the telescope. He looks up at the moon, a tear falls down, so I guess the moon has emotions. They don't really explain it, and the moon looks terrifying. It's got a very creepy face. So he grabs the tear, gives it to this Deku Scrub, business scrub guy, uses this Deku flower to fly up to the ledge of the tower, because he can't jump up there, because he's too short, hilariously enough. And then he goes up the tower on the third day and shoots. So Skull Kid's basically... Tattle learns that Skull Kid kind of shows his true colors because he smacks Tail out of the way after Tail tries to explain that they need the four giants to save Termina and help the moon up, because the four giants are basically protectors of Termina. So essentially... he has to, basically Skull Kid's gloating and saying, I don't give a crap about friendship. Tattle's calling him out on his bull crap, because she's like, why would you hit my brother? What the heck is wrong with you? And then she's freaking out. You know, she's like, oh, we don't have time. Link shoots a Deku bubble, because apparently Dekus can shoot bubbles now instead of Deku nuts. He shoots a Deku bubble at Skull Kid, because he's up there. That's why I'm looking up. And then he grabs the ocarina. A memory plays with Zelda. This is the only time you see Zelda in the entire game. A nice flashback that kind of gives a bit of depth as to what Link was doing, or the fact that she was like, okay, come back to Hyrule safe, man. I'll teach you the Song of Time again, to see if you remember it. So he remembers the Song of Time. He plays the Song of Time after Tattle panics that they need more time. She's like, oh, Goddess of Time, we need more time. And then Link plays the song, and they go back in time. Quite literally, to the beginning of the 3-day cycle. So Link walks up to the Happy Mask Man. The Happy Mask Man's like, oh, you got the ocarina back. Because for some reason, this guy's very mysterious. I think he's an amazing character. Best character in the game, Happy Mask Man. He's the only dude who's got your back. And some people think he's like evil, but not really. That's just game theory. But if you actually played Majora's Mask, you would know the guy's pretty good, and you're about to see why in a couple seconds. So he honors as part of the bargain. He teaches Link the Song of Healing, which can heal souls and get rid of curses and stuff. So the Deku mask disappears after Link plays it, after Happy Mask Man teaches it to him by summoning a piano out of thin air. He's got magical powers. He also disappears at the end of the game without a trace. So he's obviously not a normal guy, but he's helpful. So basically, we see a cutscene where Link waves off to the Deku that's inside of him, because he has like a Deku soul inside the mask, and then the soul moves away into the mask. As with there's a lot of times where there's 3 transformation masks. You have a Zora mask, a Goron mask, and a Deku mask. And they're all awesome, but Link's mask falls off and he can put it on at any time, the Deku mask. And then Happy Mask Man almost strangles him. And it's creepy. It's a creepy moment. It's shocking. He tries to like strangle Link because he's like, why don't you have the item? But in his case, I get it because I'm not condoning what he did, but in 3 days, the entire world is going to end, and this kid comes up with just his ocarina. I mean, I can understand being upset at the very least. But he basically calms down and says, dude, you got to get that mask back or something terrible's going to happen, and you already know what it is. And he knows. He's just being cryptic about it. But, so you and Tattle walk out, and you essentially go on a quest to beat these temples and solve all the races of Termina's problems. There's Zoras, Deku, Gorons, and the people of Icona. So the first 3 are for the respective masks that you're going to get. Like each race is represented by the Deku, the Goron, and the Zora mask. So Link sets out on his quest. And we're not going to talk fully about the story, but I thought it was a good introduction. There could have been a little bit more guidance because I feel like the quest was a little bit vague on what to do. I'm not saying you need to know everything. Obviously, you would go to the Great Fairy first. Maybe I was just a dumb kid. When I think about it, there was technically enough guidance because they tell you directly to go to the Great Fairy first. I just think I don't remember if I did it or paid attention. Usually I paid attention to dialogues, to dialogue in games, but apparently in this one I didn't enough. But you, regardless of that, it's a good intro. The Deku, it's frustrating when you first play it, but you come to appreciate it on subsequent playthroughs because it really hammers in the point that you're pretty helpless until you get the Deku mask off. But I think one of the best parts about this game is the gameplay. Like, the gameplay it's very addicting. I've spent many hours of the night, late hours of the night playing this game. There's 3 transformation masks, like I said. Essentially, the Deku mask is the first one you get, and it's got a cool spin move that's pretty fast. It's got Deku bubbles that can freeze certain enemies. They're not the most accurate of things in the original, but I think that's the point. If they were accurate, it'd be kind of dumb. It doesn't fit the Deku as a character. He's kind of puny, weak. He has this cool ability where you can burrow down into Deku flowers and fly around. Like, you pop out and fly around. He also can skip on water, and that's some of the most fun I've had with this form is in the swamp, jumping from the lily pads to the lily pads, which the remake, the 3D remake, nerfed. The Goron mask, it's fun. I enjoy it. I like the rolling. You can roll around in a ball and get around really fast around Termina, and then you get spikes on it so you can also damage enemies while rolling. There's a couple races you can do, like the Goron race you can do. One of the boss fights is kind of a race, but we'll get into that. He's strong. He can do a ground pound. He can do punches. It's a pretty powerful form. You can use a shield. The Deku, hilariously enough, like pulls up this turtle shell-like thing to protect himself. The Goron has its spikes come out while it crouches on the ground, and it looks kind of funny. They're pretty comical, both of them. Goron Link is funny, like the noises he makes, but at least he's like intimidating. but he can also carry a powder keg, which is a giant bomb. Most powerful bomb in the entire game, and probably the series. I wish it would come back, but it's pretty cool. Zora Link, probably my favorite of the 3 forms, though all of them are really good. Basically, he has these boomerang things on his shoulders that he can throw at people. He has this really cool move where if you lock on target and move forward, hold the stick forward and press A, he does like a dive that cuts things. It's really cool. It's like a leaping dive that can kill enemies pretty quickly. Sometimes. There are some enemies he has trouble with, but it's a very good form for the most part. And I love the frickin' swimming. Zora swimming is some of the best swimming in any game. You just like, it's freaking amazing. You push A, and he swirls around gracefully, and like, he goes real fast. You can swim normally, but if you push A, he goes forward, and he's so smooth to control. The turns while he's swimming aren't too tight. They're nice. They're loose. Very accurate to your input, because a lot of times underwater movement can be kind of sluggish. If you push B, it's kind of like the Iron Boots where he sinks down and you can walk around. He's just faster. Zora Link is amazing. The swimming is some of the best you'll ever see in the game, or any game, period. Best in the Zelda series. That's what I mean. And also, all time. Then you have the Fierce Deity Mask. This is essentially a reward for all the side quests you do, and it makes it so bosses are super easy. You get sword beams, which are nuts. If you have Chateau Romani, it's a special milk, basically, that gives you infinite magic for a day. You destroy bosses in seconds. Literally. Or if you have magic upgrades, but I think Chateau Romani's more efficient. It's an amazing form. It looks really cool. I would have liked, you know what I would have liked? A secret unlockable Master Sword thing where you can be Adult Link again. I think that would have been a cool, not an Easter egg, but an unlockable for all the stuff that you did as well, like a second one, because I really like Adult Link. But, yeah, Fierce Deity Link's really good. I don't like that he's only usable in boss fights. I think that should have been negated, and you should have been able to use him anywhere, especially since he's a reward for all the hard work you do. What else was I going to say? There's other masks. So every mask has a side quest for the most part, minus the 4 transformation ones I brought up, and the Giant's Mask. Those are main quest masks. And there's a couple non-transformation masks that are required for the main quest, but if I covered those, we would be talking for 2 hours. But we're going to talk about the side quest masks, the ones that I like. The Stone Mask makes it so you can't be seen by almost every enemy in the entire game, which makes any of the stealth segments extremely easy. I would recommend getting it before you do the Zora dungeon, like the Pirate's Fortress, I mean. And basically, I need to get some water. I'll be right back. Okay. I've got my water. All right. So, the Stone Mask is very helpful, like I said. The quest to get it's pretty interesting, but we're not going to talk about side quests just yet. Not being seen by enemies, obviously that's very useful. I would recommend getting it, even if you're not a completionist. Romani Mask is pretty useful. It allows you to get into the milk bar and get Chateau Romani, which, like I said, it gives you infinite milk. And the quest is entertaining with it, but like I said, I'm not going to talk about quests just yet. I had to think what other masks are useful. Gibdo Mask. Gibdos can still see you technically if you wear the stone mask, so... And Redeads and Gibdos are pretty tough, so... The Gibdo mask is helpful getting past them. I don't know if it works on Redead specifically. I'll put it in post, but... it's a cool mask. I gotta think of other ones that are helpful. Blast mask is helpful. It's basically just a bomb strapped to Link's face. If you put a shield up, it stops the blast from hurting you. Even though the bomb is behind the shield on Link's face, which doesn't make much sense, but whatever. That's a fun mask to get, very good. I think of another one off the top of my head. Great Fairy Mask can help you with a certain quest, getting stray fairies in the temples. Other than that, though, I would say none of them are that, like, not every mask is really that useful. Most of them get you pieces of heart, which is fine. I would have preferred to have a bit more functionality, but you only have so much space on a cartridge, especially for N64. Like, you may not have that much. But some fun ones that aren't useful but are fun. I like the Kamaro mask. It's funny seeing Link dance around with this weird skin thing on his face. I like the Bremen mask. Attracting animals can be kind of fun. That's a fun one. Oh yeah, useful. The bunny hood. The bunny hood is extremely useful. It makes you run faster. My goodness, the bunny hood is useful. Get that one ASAP as well. I forgot about that. That is a very useful mask. It makes things way better. In my honest opinion, it makes things way simpler, which is nice. Great mask. So 4, 5 useful masks. Anything but that, not really. Like, I'm only counting plot relevant ones that actually help you in some way. If I'm going to talk about plot relevant masks. But I like Kamaro's mask. Like I said, the dancing is funny. It's entertaining. The quest is entertaining. What else is there? Mask of Truth is fun because you can pick up animals and see their thoughts and talk to gossip stones. Kind of like an Ocarina of Time. You can also win the betting racetracks at Romani Ranch for the dogs, the dog races, by picking them up and seeing certain responses. But that's also pretty useful, so I'd say 6 masks are useful. But there's 21 of them, and I'd say quite a few of them are not useful. The Bremen mask is fun because you can create like a little, like the music's amazing for the Bremen mask. It's like an ocarina marching band thing, and you can make animals follow you around with it. It's fun. It's a fun little mask. Minus that, though, not all of them are heavy hitters. I'll say that much. Other than masks, though. The mask gimmick is fun. I enjoy it. The Giant's Mask. The Giant's Mask is our last stop for masks. And it's pretty cool. It makes you grow bigger, obviously. The problem is you can only use it in one boss room. It's kind of the same problem as Fierce Deity's mask. Like, using the Giant's Mask outside of the boss room would be the coolest thing ever. Excuse me, I'm burping a lot. I have a lot of gas. Oh. But it's very underwhelming that it's only used in one room. But it's still fun. You know, it's very enjoyable to see Link get huge. But we're done with masks. There's some good ones. A lot of them don't really serve any purpose for the most part, but they're just kind of trophies for the people that you helped and reminders. And I wish there were ones that were more helpful, but they only had a year to make the game, so I'm not really going to be that upset with them. I gotta give Aonuma and Koizumi some credit. I like Koizumi, but I gotta give Aonuma some credit. Him and his team did a good job with Majora's Mask. But now we're going to talk about side quests. Why aren't you doing the main quest first? Because the trick with Majora's Mask is there's only 4 dungeons. Ocarina of Time had like 8. Technically 5 if you count the moon. I don't, though. It's just kind of a reskinning of very miniature challenges. They're fun, though, but there's 4 dungeons, which I wish there was at least like one more, but it's still an amazing game. Regardless, some of those dungeons are the best in the series, along with the ones from Ocarina of Time. They're far better than Twilight Princess and Wind Waker and all the others. And that's coming from a guy who likes Twilight Princess and enjoys Wind Waker. I think that the dungeons in this game make them look like not nearly as good as Ocarina and Majora. Ocarina and Majora's Mask dungeons are the best in the series, bar none to me. But side quests. I don't want to get sidetracked, if you know what I mean. My throat's getting hoarse, but so there's 2 notable quests of the big boys. These are the big boy quests: the Kaifei and Anju quest and the Romani Ranch quest. So Kaifei and Anju quest is about you reuniting Kaifei and Anju. They're 2 lovebirds that want to be married, and it's a long frickin' quest line. And if you fail it, you got to restart the whole cycle. And that is one thing. I like the 3-day mechanic, but there should be an auto-saving mechanic here's the thing. I do like temple. I mean, I prefer the Song of Time stuff when it comes to going back in time to save, because that's how you save. You have to go back in time and restart the cycle of 3 days. I enjoy that. You don't really... I mean, autosaves would be fun, but that does also take away from the challenge of the game. But it is frustrating to have to redo an entire quest and do all that waiting, which the remake of Majora's Mask, the 3D version, did only one thing correct, and that's making this song called the Song of Double Time, essentially. It's a weird version of the Song of Time that allows you to accelerate to the next day, because they got rid of the Sun song from Ocarina of Time, which was a bit weird, but because that's an iconic song. It even still plays at the beginning of the day in Majora's Mask. I kind of wish they would have kept that. But what's nice about the remake of Majora's Mask is you can select a specific time that you want to accelerate to. In the N64 version, it just skips ahead to night. And you're like, okay. And then today, when you play it again, until the 3-day cycle's up. And it's like... It's frustrating because you have to sit there waiting a lot. There's a lot of mail delivery. There's a lot of back and forth of giving items to different characters and talking to people at specific times. If you don't talk at specific times, the quest could screw up. It's very, it's iconic. But at the same time, it kind of... Without the Song of Double Time being like it was in the 3DS version, it can be frustrating at times. It's solidly written. You do want to get these... Every quest is nice because you do want to help these people. That's a fact. You do want to help these people. They're well written enough to the point where you do feel bad if you don't do all the side quests. And you get a sick reward from it, but... that's a fun quest. At the end, basically you give letters from Kaifei to Anju and items, until a point where Andrew decides to stay despite her mother's best wishes because the moon's going to fall and they assume leaving town is going to save them, which is not true. Them leaving town is just going to kill him. But that's the tragedy. You can't escape the moon falling unless Link saves Termina. But she stays, and then you essentially have to follow Kai-Fei to Icona Canyon, which we'll talk about later, to follow this thief named Seiken who stole his sun mask before Kai-Fei was cursed. And you essentially find his secret base behind the stone, and then you only have about, like, it's on the final day, so you don't have much time, so you better complete this puzzle segment that's about to start. So you wait with him for the thief to show up, for Seiken to show up, what am I saying? And then you go inside his hideout, and then Kai-Fei does a pretty stupid move here, and that's him walking on this very obvious button that's next to a conveyor belt with the mask on it, and then the mask goes down the conveyor belt, going to this hole so Seiken can essentially steal the mask and get away scot-free with it. So you have to solve a bunch of puzzles while the mask is going down a conveyor belt. And if you mess up, you have to restart the 3-day cycle, which is unfortunate. But it's pretty easy. Like, I 100%ed this game last year. Like, I actually, not 100%ed in the heart container sense, but I got all the masks. And it was pretty easy if you focus up and pay attention. It's not that bad. When you do it the first time, though, it's a little too much thrown on you at once. I wish there was a bit less hectic, but it's still well done. Though I do think the waiting's a bit much. So you get the mask, and then you have to wait for Kai-Fei with Anju, because she owns an inn called the Stock Pond Inn with her mom. So you wait there for him to show up, and then they unite, and blah, 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 blah. It's romantic, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And, they reunite, and it's pretty touching, and then they make the couple's mask, and then you just go back in time. And in that timeline, I guess they just die while Link disappears. Majora's Mask is grim in a way that's almost kind of humorous because it's so over the top. And then you got the Romani Ranch quest. That's the quest. It's Romani Ranch. Give me a second. Essentially, there's a giant boulder blocking the entrance to this ranch near a place called Milk Road where people sell milk. Two competing ranches. One ranch dropped a giant boulder down somehow in front of the entrance to the other ranch. So you have to get the powder keg that I brought up earlier from some Goron and the Snowhead Temple. So you can't do this quest that early. You have to beat the second dungeon. Or not really beat it. I mean, you have to get halfway through it to get the powder keg. So you blow up the thing with the powder keg unless you want to wait 3 days. And if you wait 3 days, Romani, the girl, is abducted and her memory's erased or whatever horrible thing the aliens do to her. I'm losing my train of thought because my freaking burping. But basically, yeah, so you blow up the rock, and then you go through the entrance, and you meet Romani, who's just Malin. And I forgot to bring up, Termina is kind of a parallel world to Hyrule. If you played Ocarina of Time, you're going to see a lot of familiar faces and think, oh, is that the same character? Nope, not the same character at all. Completely different. that explains why there's two duplicates. Cremia and Romani are basically just Malin's adult and child model, respectively, reused. And I'm okay with reusing. It kind of added to the intrigue. Like, why do these guys look so familiar? It definitely supports the claims of this being a parallel dimension. It's very trippy that they all look familiar. It's kind of eerie in some ways because you think, oh, there's a familiar face here, and you get this kind of false sense of security. My green screen's acting so weird. This is not a comfortable sitting position, believe it or not, but I do it for the video. But regardless, the game, basically you have to help Romani, because she has Epona, because you lose Epona. I forgot to bring that up. Epona disappears. So Romani found Epona and caged her up, and you got to get her back by helping Romani fight these alien things called them, these creatures that abduct the cows from the ranch. And Romani if you fail. So no pressure. No pressure there. Romani can get abducted if you fail. No pressure. Every quest has to feel like a heart attack. At least the two main ones are. So you fight the aliens or ghosts. I call them ghosts. They don't look like aliens. They look like frickin' Pose from Ocarina of Time. Those don't look like frickin' ghosts. Those don't look like aliens. They look like ghosts or Pose of some kind. But it's a pretty creepy quest. You know, the alien abduction thing's a little eerie. But the worst part about it is Epona... See, Epona's fine when you're shooting from horseback. If you're just doing like a target thing, you know, let's say you're doing a target test thing, Epona's not so bad. When you're doing a ranch thing, when you're trying to defend a barn, smacking Epona, trying to get her to go faster, while also holding your bow out and trying to aim while moving fast and hitting these aliens, it's not so good. Like, it is a fun quest, but my goodness, the aiming mechanics do not work well in this circumstance. It's a pretty difficult quest. I was blessed to be able to get done with the quest, because my goodness, it is a rough quest. It's not for the faint of heart, and if you fail, they really nail it in that you failed. They really don't make you forget that you failed horribly. But basically, after that, Cremia wants to go on a carriage ride to have you escort the milk that she got from the now saved cows. And essentially, you go with her and defend her from the Gorman brothers. They're basically Ingo. They're from the competing ranch. They're the ones who put the giant boulder in front, and they're trying to steal the milk from Romani. I mean, not Romani, freaking, oh my gosh, freaking Cremia. They look the same. My brain is just, I'm surprised I haven't called them the sisters Malin at this point, but it's just confusing with all this parallel, wacky dimension stuff. There's still no explanation as to why any of this stuff is happening, but that's later. So once you're done with that, she gives you Romani's mask. And then the rest of the quest, the rest of the side quests, those are the primary ones I wanted to talk about. The rest of the side quests are kind of, they're fun. The spider houses are fun. They're eerie. They got the creepy cave music. I very much enjoy those. You kill all the Skulltulas to get a big wallet in the ocean spider house and the Mask of Truth in the swamp spider house. They're fun little mini dungeons. They're extremely well done. But I like the quest with Guru because all you do is just talk to him and he gives you his crazy story and he gives you the Bremen mask. The circus leaders one is pretty good too because you get to play the ocarina and have a full band with all the transformation masks, playing a song called Ballad of the Windfish. It's pretty cool. What else is there? There's Grog's quest essentially, where you use the Bremen mask to make his chickens follow you, his chicks, and then they grow into roosters and chickens, and it's pretty cool. Cuckoos, as they call him. And he's happy, and he gives you the bunny hood. The Stone Mask quest is pretty fun. You put the Lens of Truth on, which you get from the Goron section of the game, the mountains. And you find a guy who's invisible. He's basically cursed, so you... Not really cursed. I guess... Is he cursed? I guess. I guess he is. But you have to get him a health potion, so you give it to him, he drinks it, and then he's like, oh, I'm visible now. You know, that's a fun quest. He gives you the Stone Mask. It's very well designed, I'll say. I very much enjoy the, what's it called? I enjoy the Stone Mask side quest. There's a lot more I could cover. The Bomb Mask is pretty good, the Blast Mask, because you have to stop Seiken from stealing from this old lady. You can kill him with the bow and arrow, which, honestly, it's tempting to do after having to go through his sadistic maze of a hideout and get the stupid frickin' sun mask, so killing him's pretty tempting. There's a lot more I could talk about, but you know what? We're not here for the side quests. We're here for the main quest, and my gosh, is it one of the best main quests in all of Zelda. That's why it ties with Ocarina of Time for me. The dungeons. Oh my gosh, the dungeons are so good. The Deku Temple looks awesome. I love the aesthetic. It's kind of got like a Mayan influence. There's a lot of verticality, so you use the Deku flowers to get up to higher ledges. There's a lot of puzzles where, like, there's poisonous water, so you have to hop across the treacherous water with the Deku mask. You use the Deku mask to take out a boss frog thing that rides on a turtle. It's very weird, but it's very fun. You get the bow, and you do a bunch of bow puzzles by shooting the eyes, kind of like Ocarina of Time's bow. And then you fight freaking Odalwa. This boss is awesome. He looks awesome. So Link just walks into this room, and he looks up. You know, you don't see anything around there, so you're looking around, and then he looks up, and then he sees this giant, ancient warrior with a freaking cutlass come down. And he, like, slashes it a couple times. And the music, the boss music is so good in this game. It's so intense. And he comes down at you. And you can use... What's nice about Odalwa is there's no specific way to really beat him. You can burrow in a flower and shoot up at him. You can spin at him to stun him and slash him with your sword. You can spin attack and cheese the fight. But I don't have footage of it. But if you look up Majora's Mask, Odalwa Quick Kill, it's pretty crazy. But he's a fun boss. He's varied. He's intimidating. My gosh, I wish there were more sword fights in Zelda in general. Like in 3D Zelda, I wish there were more sword fight bosses and generic knights you could fight. Like the 2D games have that, but I wish the 3D ones had it, man. But, so you beat him, and essentially the swamp's curse was that there's poisonous water all over. And there's this monkey who essentially is about to get boiled alive because the Dekus and the monkeys have kind of a rivalry. And the Deku King thinks that the princess was kidnapped by the monkey, so he starts torturing him in a kid's game, pouring him in boiling hot water. But you basically find the princess, you get her back over there, and since the poisonous waters are gone and peace has returned to the swamp, she chews out her dad and stomps all over him and says, "Why the heck did you torture the monkey? He didn't do anything. Why are you so rash all the time?" So the dad basically is put in his place, and then you help the Deku butler. They basically say, "Hey, go to the Deku butler. We have a gift for you," because they're actually nice and reward you for what you did. I think they're the only kingdom that do that for the most part in this entire thing, that directly reward Link. Basically, you have to follow the Deku butler through this pretty well-constructed maze to get the scent mask, like the mask of scents, and he's a pretty cool character. I wish we knew more about him, but... So you leave the southern swamp, and then you go to the Goron village, which is covered in snow. And, you know, the Gorons don't like the cold. You know, they may not survive another winter or the 3 days of the giant moon that's going to crush them. You know, that's... Living in Terminus sucks. That's all I'm going to say. Living in Terminus sucks. It sucks. Terribly. But, essentially, you find Darmani. You meet our boy Kapora Gabora, Owl from Ocarina of Time. He was in Woodfall as well, the swamp area, but he basically helps you find the lens of truth from Ocarina of Time that makes you see hidden objects. And he's your guide. I don't know if he's Rauru, like he's a sage from Ocarina of Time who helps you out, because that's who the owl secretly is, but I'm hoping it is. My headcanon says it is, but it probably, like, I have no idea. That's what we're going to get to at the end. The crypticness of the game is interesting, but it does kind of... We'll get into it later. But you find Darmani, this Goron patriarch. He's like a ghost, so you follow him up to his shrine, and it turns out that Darmani discovered that the blizzard was happening at the temple, the Snowhead Temple, because of some mysterious force. Skull Kid ruined another place. He's ruined 4 places in this game, but we'll get to the others. So Darmani is like, I can't come back to life. He accidentally fell off the ledge of the Snowhead Temple and died. So he literally died. And then he's like, oh, if I was alive, then none of this would have happened. You know, I wish I could come back to life. Heal me. So you play the Song of Healing. He turns into a mask, and it's a pretty sad backstory. It is kind of sweet in a way, because Link can kind of fulfill what Darmani couldn't. And they mistake you for Darmani with the Goron mask. So you go, I'm not going to explain everything about it. You go to the Snowhead Temple after waking up, after learning a lullaby to make this invisible Goron, who killed Darmani. A freaking giant Goron murdered Darmani because he was breathing. He was basically blowing wind at him unintentionally. I don't know if it's intentional or unintentional, but he killed Darmani, and you make him fall asleep and he falls off the ledge. I'm sure he's fine, but poor Darmani, he just couldn't take the heat of falling off a freaking cliff. But you roll up the side of the mountain. It's pretty narrow, so you kind of have to be very quick, but also very careful. So you get up to the top of it, and then you go into Snowhead, and it's a very atmospheric dungeon. Every dungeon's got a nice atmosphere to it. Essentially, what you're trying to do is to get to the top of Snowhead to fight Goat. He's a giant goat enemy. I call him Goat. I'm not going to call him Got. That's a stupid name, in my opinion. He's a giant metallic goat. So a lot of the puzzles involve fire arrows. You get your first elemental arrows. Using the Goron mask to roll between different platforms to like ramp off to another side of a bridge multiple times. And you use the strength of the Goron to punch these small pillar parts to break them down piece by piece. and it's very fun. There's a lot of thoughtful level design in this game. Wizrobe's a pretty fun mini-boss that you fight along the way. I don't get the criticism about him. I thought he was fun. Oh, they show him too many times. I thought he was a fun boss. I don't get the criticism. But, and then you finally get up to Goat. And my boy Goat, also the Deku can be used to get back up to... So let's say you fall after going off of these platforms. You can use Deku Link to get back up to the top floor so you can try spinning across the edges again. And you actually have to Goron roll across the edges as well. So it's very freaky. It's scary. Because if you fall down, I didn't know about the Deku flower that brings you back up. But it's very useful. I wish I would have known about that when I was a kid, so I wasn't an idiot wondering where to go. But so essentially, once you get to the top of the tower, you fight Goat in a battle where you're racing him around, rolling around as a Goron, trying to catch up to him and smack him with the spikes. It can be frustrating when he uses lightning on you and he knocks you out of the spin because you have to keep charging up your spin. But for the most part, he's a very fun boss. Solid boss. You beat him, you're done. Great boss, great dungeon. And then we go to Great Bay Temple. This one might be the most depressing. Also, okay, so after you beat Goat, the spring comes to the Goron village, and they let you participate in a Goron race to win Golden Dust to get a better sword, which is better than the Great Fairy Sword, by the way. I think it is. It's much more convenient. Don't get the Great Fairy Sword. I think it's a waste of time. Just get the mask and get Fierce Deity. You don't need the Great Fairy Sword. But Link leaves the swamp. You know, they're like, oh, hey, Darmani, can you stay and become the new Elder? You're leaving so soon. Little did they know that's Link in disguise. Now, I think Great Bay is a bit more depressing because essentially you use Epona to leap over this fence and you meet this Zora guy who's a father and he's dead, or at least dying in the water because a pirate hit him. So he was trying to get eggs for these eggs that his wife, because Zoras lay eggs. It's the Zora part of the quest. That's how they have children. So he was trying to get the eggs back because she's technically his wife. And he got hurt by the pirates, mortally wounded, and is left just to sit at sea. So you push him back to sea, try to help him. He falls over and describes, hey, I was trying to get the eggs back. I need help. Someone heal my soul. You play the Song of Healing. He becomes a mask again after a pretty sad montage of him and her kind of, and them being all buddy-buddy with the band. And she lost her voice, basically. She's a part of a band called the Indigogos. The synthesized voice is not very good. Her voice is not very good, people. It's the same as Malin from Ocarina of Time. But that was charming because it was a small segment of the game. This is an ending song. Her voice is not very good in this. They pushed way too hard with the synthesized singing. So, essentially, you go to the band members in Zora Hall, and they tell you, hey, did you get the eggs back, and yada yada. I'd like to talk more about these places more, but I don't have that much time. I don't want to make this too long of an I can't even speak, of an episode. But you go through a fun little segment called the Pirate's Fortress, where you have to sneak through and get to the hook shot. You have to sneak through and get past these pirates while going underwater and avoiding all the obstacles and avoiding the spotlights. Kind of a cool infiltration mission, like a bit of like a spy infiltration thing. So essentially you find out that the pirates stole the eggs so they could get to the temple to find treasure. And you knock this beehive down, go down there as they run out like little cowards. And then you find the eggs throughout the place, a couple eggs. And then you get the hook shot. You fight a couple really cool Gerudo, not Goron, Gerudo pirate mini bosses with like 2 swords. They're well designed. And then you go down to this cape, basically, this giant pit. And you have to get these eggs within a certain time limit, or else they die. So you have to get them back to the tanks. So you need at least like 6 bottles for this, 6 or 7, if you can get 7. If you don't, be prepared to backtrack and go back and forth 100 times trying to get these eggs. I would recommend not doing that. Get bottles before you do this quest. Like, stockpile them, or else it's going to be really hard. So you get all of them from all these dangerous areas, from underwater to in the pirate fortress. And then you give the eggs to the guy. Basically the Zoras that are born from these eggs, they're safely born in this salt water or whatever, like purified water. I don't know what kind of water it is. This lakeside laboratory guy who's really weird looking, like the one from the previous game, Ocarina of Time. He's basically another duplicate character. But you put the eggs in there, you learn a song, you play it, you go over to Lulu, you play this song. She remembers the song in particular and gets her voice back. And then this giant turtle thing shows up out of nowhere, unexplainedly, and then takes you to the temple. Now, the Great Bay Temple is pretty tough. It's pretty confusing. You kind of have to redirect water currents to get to certain platforms. It's confusing, but I'd say it's yet again another solidly designed dungeon. It might be better in some ways than the other two. I would say it's better because it does offer more of a challenge. The other ones are still great. These are still top tier Zelda dungeons, but essentially, I think I'm going over the time, but I don't really care. We'll go a little bit over. But you get the ice arrows, which are really cool, that allow you to create platforms in any area you want, so you can kind of solve puzzles by problem solving it in your head. Like, oh, what ice platforms do I need to put down to get to this section of the temple, or this hookshot spot to grapple up? It's really cool. The hookshot is also awesome, as always. It's basically just a grapple hook that makes it so you can attach to any surface that they allow you to, and it's a grapple hook. Grapple hooks are awesome. But the remake ruined the ice arrows by making it so you can't freely use them anywhere. You can use the ice arrows in any body of water in the original Majora's Mask. It's so freaking cool. It's awesome. Then you fight Gyorg, or Gyorg, as people call him. I call him Gyorg. They have some weird names in this. I like this boss. A lot of people say he's really hard. All you got to do is bait him out, make him smack into the pillar, and like hit him with an arrow, and then shock him with the Zora. I don't think it's that hard of a boss. But he's fun. You know, you got to go underwater with this giant, terrifying fish guy. And use Zora Link to use his stunning stuff on him, like his stun magic to stun lock him and damage him, and then hit him with your fins, or I think you can damage him with the bow. I don't. It's been a year or so, but he's a fun boss. Then we get to Icona Canyon, and basically, so the problem with the Zora stuff, though, before I leave it behind, is that the waters are murky and dangerous and not sustainable for people to survive in. Like, fish can't survive there. So the waters get cleaned up, and then the Indigogos do some random rehearsal, and, you know, it's charming, but the synthesized singing does not sound good in this game in particular. I think Epona's song, it just fits better because it's a short song. and it's not like the primary focus of a location. But you hear the band, and then you leave, and you head out to Iconic Canyon. This location deserves a whole podcast of its own. It's eerie, it's unsettling, it's some of the best atmosphere in the entire game. There are some localization things and edgy things I don't care for, but they're not worth getting into. But things that I don't like, but basically it's just a valley full of ghosts and Gibdos, which are mummies, basically. And they're all over this canyon, terrorizing it. And the second you enter, the music is so eerie. It's like so dark and depressing, and the sky's all weird and pinkish looking. Like things are not going well here. And you go down to the graveyard and you fight this giant skeleton guy, this giant stall child, Captain Kita. You fight him in a fun race after awakening him, and then you get his mask, and you learn the Song of Storms by asking some of these Stall children to open a grave at night. It's cool that you can talk to them. You can talk to any Stall child you see, so that's cool. And then you go up to the canyons, you go to the top of the canyon mountain thing, and then essentially what you do is you I got it. My brain it's not working. Okay. So there's a bunch of Gibdos surrounding this music box house, so you have to avoid them and get to this area, this small cave, and you play the Song of Storms to heal this composer brother's soul. And he plays a song for you, and I know he doesn't play a song. He's going to try to kill you with the Song of the Dead, basically, but you play the Song of Storms and heal him because his brother made it so he could heal people. And then the water comes back, which powers the music box house and kills the Gibdos around it. And you find a little girl inside. So, essentially, this poor child has been living with mummified corpses walking around her, and she can't leave. And then you go down there and sneak past her. You have to have the stone mask or she'll go back in. Otherwise, you have to use a bomb to get her back out of the house. But the music's playing again. You go inside, and then you walk up to this closet. And then you see this Gibdo guy smash out of it, and it's like terrifying. He like jump scares you. He's got like yellow eyes. He's half Gibdo, half human. And then you play the Song of Healing, of course, and the mask comes off, and it's her dad, and they have a touching reunion moment. The dad's a terrible father because he decided to stay in Icona to essentially hunt ghosts, even though there are ghosts there, buddy. There's deadly creatures. There's Pose. Why would you want to be there? And we're going to speed run through this a little quickly. So the Stone Tower. You climb your way to the Stone Tower after learning a song from another sword boss fight from these two captains of Icona in this cool mini dungeon. The Castle of Icona is pretty cool. It's a solid dungeon with mirror shield puzzles where you have to deflect light to certain things, and you get the mirror shield here. And then we get to Stone Tower Temple. So, Stone Tower Temple is probably my favorite dungeon in this game, and one of my favorite dungeons, period. It's essentially a giant tower that you have to climb up to, and there are buttons that you have to press, essentially all at the same time. So you have to play this song called The Elegy of Emptiness that makes a bunch of creepy statues that press the buttons for you. And they're really cool. You have a different creepy statue for each race, each mask you put on, you have to use each mask to get each statue, including the human form as well. I don't dislike the encore performance. Every song has an encore with the ocarina. I should mention the ocarina is a big deal, and you play a lot of songs with it. But you'll always get an encore performance, and people hated on that, and I'm like, isn't that the charm of the game, is that there's an encore? Isn't there a charm in that? Like, it's supposed to be about music. I want to hear the full song. I don't want to hear the encore again 5 times. It's like, who cares, dude? Play a different game then. In my opinion, that's stupid. That's completely stupid. But regardless... Oh, gosh. Whew. Crap. Technical difficulties. Come on. Give me a second. Ooh. Some cramp in there. Woo! I wonder if I'll leave this bit in. It'd be funny if I did. Ooh, okay. All right. Ugh. That's the one problem with having a green screen, is the fact that you have to adjust it a lot, and it can't be turned the other way, or else it's not going to do as well. It's because of the chair I'm on. It needs to be a little bit taller, but whatever. This is what we get for now. I'll probably do a little bit better with the setup next time I bust this thing out, but... Excuse me. So, you finally get up to the tower via these moving platforms. And you enter, and the music's pretty eerie, and you're walking around, and a lot of the puzzles have to do with the mirror shield. This might be the most challenging dungeon I've ever played in Majora's Mask, in a lot of ways. Like, obviously Great Bay is pretty difficult, but you got mirror shield puzzles where you have to deflect the light in very creative ways. A lot like Ocarina of Time Spirit Temple, which is also a very solid temple. You basically have to use almost every transformation mask. Like, Deku and Zora are MVPs. The Deku you use to get around these platforms that are floating. The Zora you use to get through this small passageway, or through these large watery hallways. And then, and avoid these Dexy hands that come out of the wall and try to grab you. And then, what else is there? There's some pretty cool mini-bosses. Gomez is a giant bat thing. It's like a Grim Reaper-looking bat-shaped thing that's really cool. It's like made out of bats. It's creepy. It's intimidating. It's well-designed. You have to use the mirror shield to beat this guy, get the bats away from him. And then I'm pretty sure you get the light arrows after you beat this guy. Another solid addition to the elemental arrow thing. It's our third and final one. I wish there was one more dungeon with this game. To be honest, I do wish there was one more, but you get this, and then you got to use the Giant's Mask to fight Twin Mother. And it's a solid fight if you get Chateau Romani. If you don't have Chateau Romani, don't even bother fighting him until you get it. Because you're going to be wasting a lot of magic with the Giant's Mask. It sucks magic down, so don't go for stray fairies to get a bigger magic bar. Get Chateau Romani. You're going to need it for the final boss too, but he's a solid boss, and he's pretty tough. Like, he's not the hardest boss of all time, but it's nice to fight a boss that's not so hard that he's impossible. So he'll burrow into the ground, and you got to wait for him to come back up and hit him. But after he's destroyed, Icon is cured, and the skies are gone, and everything's back to normal. Everything's blue and peaceful and nice. The ghosties disappear. I'm pretty sure some of them still exist at the end. But we're not going to talk about Majora, though. I think that these dungeons are as good as Ocarina of Time's, like I said. They're extremely solid. I love them so much. But we're not going to talk about the finale. I don't think we will. I don't want to spoil that. I think it would take up too much time. I want to talk about other things. So, if we're going to talk problems about the game, like actual problems, I think for me, I may talk a little bit about the ending. The ending's too vague. I think the whole game is almost too vague. It's too mysterious. I don't want them to reveal everything. You know, you can keep the Happy Mask Man a mystery. But what is Termina? What is it? It's not really a problem. This is the real problem. Lack of a main cast. That's my biggest problem. All the side characters are well written. But there is a lack, there is no character I can anchor myself to and be like, I care about this character. This character's with me in the trenches. In Ocarina of Time, it feels like the sages are with you in the trenches as you're fighting to get these temples done. And I want something like that. I want some characters to really emphasize that, you're not alone in Termina. You got this. I like the depressing themes of Termina, but I feel like there needs to be something to balance out how dark the game is. It kind of goes a little bit too far in some places, and I mean it. I'm not going to bring up everything, but it just does. You could even just Google it, but it's very dark. I enjoy the game. I enjoy a lot of its darkness. A lot of it is good because it's depressing. But you need something to balance that out. The Happy Mask Man should have been more present in the story. There, cheering you on, spurring you on to do what you had to do. He's an interesting character. I wanted more dialogue. I wanted to know more about him. I don't want the entire mystery to be gone, but I wanted to bond with Link. I want characters who bond with Link. I don't want... This is the thing. The fish out of water thing's cool. I get it's supposed to be... It's very much disappointing. There's no anchor points in Termina. You could have brought some characters from Hyrule back. I would have liked to see Zelda again. She could figure out some of the mysteries of Termina. She could end up helping Link. It would give Link and Zelda a chance to bond. There's tons of characters from Ocarina of Time you could have brought back. Frickin' Rauru he could be in the game. That's the thing about Rauru. He could be in the game because he's technically the owl. I wish I knew. They should have made it so it's Rauru. I would have added some characters. You could have brought Malon and Talon. That would have been kind of funny. They meet their counterparts, the Milk Bar guy and Romani and Cremia. It would have been kind of a funny thing to see them interact with their parallel counterparts. It's almost... I want a main cast. That's what I want. Like the Sages. Each area has a main cast member who's alive. Not dead. It would offset the depressing tone in a good way. It would make it so you have a reason to fight. And I want them to know what Link's doing and how much pain he's going through to get this journey done and how stressful it is. I don't really care for the ending being this whole, oh, hey, Link... he didn't get the credit he deserved because Tattle basically just tells him to leave. And then everyone forgives Skull Kid and treats him like he's some kind of good guy when he's a backstabbing traitor. But I'm just saying. The ending left a lot to be desired. It's cool seeing the good you did. It's cool. But I would have liked Skull Kid to have some repercussions for what he did because he was a thief before he stole Majora's Mask. And he tormented people so much that they had to get the Giants to banish him. That's one of the backstories, even though the Giants and him are best friends. But it's a good ending. Happy Mask Man disappears mysteriously. I just would have liked more development from the Mask Man himself and extra characters, not just dead ones. I want to know more about the Indigogos. I want to know more about the Gorons and their plight. Obviously, the game was made in a year, so they couldn't do this, and I thank everyone on the dev team for doing such a good job. But I also feel like it could have used another year. I still am glad it's made. I would rather have it be made than not have a year. But part of me wants there to be a remake of Majora's Mask that adds these elements that I'm talking about. I want more clear Link's to Ocarina of Time besides Link, and I want a third Hero of Time game. I'm just being honest. I want to see the conclusion of his story. Or maybe not the conclusion, but I want to see him come back to Hyrule. That's what I really want to see. I don't need to see the conclusion. I just want to see him on another adventure. We don't need some dramatic send-off or goodbye. I just want to see him again. I want another game in the style of these games. And I think that'd be really cool. That'd be a nice payoff to the bittersweetness of Majora's Mask. But anywho, this game's amazing. God bless. I do want to talk about the atmosphere and the creepy locations of this game, maybe in October. But right now, the video's done. The video's done. But anywho, God bless. Christ is King, and have a good day. Seriously, have a good day. Enjoy yourself. Let's fight for good Zelda. And remember the good times.